We now have had the first qualifying session of the Formula One season in 2026, and this was a very interesting qualifying session. We had the new format where the first 6 cars are eliminated in Q1, then the second batch of 6 cars were eliminated in Q2, and finally we had the top 10 shootout. And I think it is at this point that it became very clear that Mercedes are actually way ahead of the rest of the grid because they dominated the qualifying, with George Russell taking pole position and Kimi Antonelli taking the second position, basically ensuring that Mercedes had a front row lockout. And while many people had already predicted or were assuming that Mercedes would actually be the favorite in 2026, many also did not expect them to be as good and ahead as they actually demonstrated during the qualifying session in Australia. And I think the person who captured it well was Charles Leclerc, who said that at least he expected them to be a little bit ahead of the rest, but not by the margin that they ended up being ahead. And that probably points to what is the general feeling at the moment, that Mercedes are way ahead of the rest, and probably it will take a while before any other team can be able to possibly challenge them. And it is commendable what Mercedes have been able to build, and if this is their genuine pace and they are ahead of the rest, then you can almost say that these new regulations have given them a lifeline, because Mercedes truly struggled during the cloud effect era, and that is probably a time when they could not understand what it is that they were doing with their cars. But at the moment, they seem to be the team to beat, and it will be very interesting to also see how their race pace will be and whether they will actually also dominate the entire race in Australia. If this is the first time that you and I are meeting, I am Joe, and on this YouTube channel I talk about Formula One and the business of Formula One. And I would really appreciate it if you would consider subscribing to this YouTube channel. And the qualifying session also provided us with some information, some insights of some of the things that a lot of people had predicted, but at least now the picture is starting to become clearer. And I mean this in the aspect of the pecking order. At least now we know that Mercedes are ahead. But what was surprising to me is to see Red Bull as almost the team that would be second to Mercedes. And when you consider that Max Verstappen crashed out in Q1, it becomes very interesting to see Isaac Hadjar sitting in P3, because one almost wonders where Max Verstappen would have ended up being. Would he have split the Mercedes? Would he have been the one sitting on pole? No one knows, because at least we never got a chance to witness that particular kind of a situation. So it is going to be interesting to see how the next couple of races are going to actually pan out, and to see exactly where Max sits when it comes to this new kind of pecking order. And as you continue to look at these results, you can almost get an idea that probably Ferrari are the third team on the grid. And with Charles Leclerc sitting at P4 and Hamilton at P7, you can almost sense that probably that was not the best that they could have done. And again, for the next couple of races, we are going to see the full performance from Ferrari. I'm hoping that actually they did not perform as they had expected during qualifying, and maybe that will probably give us a clearer picture of their true pace. And I think the fourth team in this particular case would be McLaren, with Oscar sitting in P5 and Lando Norris in P6. And I think that probably gives us a better indication of where the top 4 teams actually sit. We have Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari, and then McLaren. And of course, then you can go looking into the rest of the grid, looking at the 5th team all the way back to the 11th team. And if I was to continue using these qualifying results as the baseline of the pecking order in this particular year, or at least at this particular point, then we can be able to see that Racing Bulls are in position 5, Audi in position 6, Haas in position 7, Alpine in position 8, Williams in position 9, Cadillac in position 10, and at the back of the grid would be number 11 being Aston Martin. And I think that can be a good start. We can be able then to start building the pecking order based on these particular initial results. And I'm sure that things are going to change over the course of the season because the circuit at Albert Park might not be the most representative of where the teams probably will be performing at their best. There are teams that are good in Australia and not so good in Australia, which means how they performed today might not be representative of their performance over the course of the entire season. There are a lot of things that a Formula One fan can pick from this first qualifying session of Formula One season in 2026. It gives an indication of probably things to expect over the course of the season when it comes to such things as super clipping, lift and coast, energy management, how batteries are working, as well as how teams are deploying energy. Because those are some of the issues that actually you could hear driver talking about, or at least those are the issues that have been raised during this particular session. And I think it is important for us to understand how this thing is working because that will also improve the experience of the fans who are actually watching and following the sport. And I think maybe there is also a bit of work to be done by, the FIA, F1 and the TV direction because sometimes you may not understand what is going on when qualifying is taking place. Is a driver deploying energy? Is a driver harvesting? Some of this information is not being shared to the fans, and probably a lot of people are ending up confused as to what is going on because the current qualifying might be very different from what we are used to. And now with qualifying done, I think focus shifts to the full race on Sunday because that's when we'll also now start seeing which teams can be able to do the entire race, who is good when it comes to race trim, who had set up their car for the race and probably sacrificed a bit when it came to qualifying. All those answers are going to be actually answered by the end of the race in Australia. And since points are awarded by the end of a race, I think that will become the true definition of where each team sits. And I think I cannot wait to actually witness this first race of the Formula One season in 2026. This is going to be it for this particular video, and I hope that you have found some value and that you have enjoyed it. Watch the video on your screen right now, subscribe to this YouTube channel if you have not, and I'm going to see you in my next video.